Aloha, it is Chris with Nichols, Retirement Empire. I'm going to, where am I going? Walmart. I'm going to Walmart because I'm going to get some knee braces. Never thought this would happen, but it's happening. I have, I try to walk, at least 4 or 5 times a week. And my friend Paul started running, and he's running like 3 or 4 miles a day, all this, breaking all these records for people his age, just running like an Olympic athlete. And no, but he is running. He is running. And so I'm like, I could, because I've always had like ellipticals and stuff like that, to exercise on. But I just don't have a place that I want to put an elliptical in my house, and they're expensive. And I'm like, I just need to get out on the road and just do like Paul. I can be like Paul, and I can start running. And so that seemed like a really good idea. So I did that for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then I started to notice that my knees were, aching. And, when I'd sleep at night, I'd be like, oh. I'd wake myself up because I was moaning, because I was hurt or whatever. But anyway, not that I'm injured or anything, but it's just, how it is when you get older, and you got your knees and your hamstring and your this and that. And so I thought, when I was talking to Paul, well, one of the things that he had told me was that he bought some running shoes, and I'm like, I do need to get some new shoes, and I need to get a good pair of running shoes. So I went out, I bought a good pair of Brooks running shoes, and they're really nice. I can tell a real difference with that. And then the other thing that Paul neglected to tell me when he started all this, he did tell me that he had a lot of aches and pains, but he did not tell me that he was wearing knee braces. So I'm like, I'm gonna go get some knee braces, so maybe my knees won't. Because when you're on a regular road, the regular road's not flat; it's tilted a little bit, and so you got like one leg longer than the other. It's kind of like, like being a hillbilly. When you live in the mountains, everybody in the mountains has one leg longer than the other because they're standing on the side of a hill, and that's why that happens to them. So anyway, that's not true. The hillbillies don't have one leg longer than the other. And that probably offended somebody. I don't know. One time I was doing a video. Me and Paul were fishing, and I caught this trout. And trout have 2 little fangs in the front. The sea trout have 2 little fangs in the front of their mouth. Well, one of its little fangs were broke off, and we were calling these fish that had a fang broke off Kentucky trout, because they only had 1 tooth. And we were amused by that. We felt like that was funny. And some lady got all upset with me and sent me this big long email about how she worked with some kind of agency that helped people in Appalachia get their teeth fixed, and that the trauma that was placed on them by being made fun of by their teeth was all this stuff about their teeth and how they couldn't help it. And I started thinking, well, you know what? I grew up in Appalachia. I mean, crap, everybody, people in Alabama make fun of Mississippi. People in Georgia make fun of Alabama. People in, you're supposed to be able to make fun of your folks. So anyway, so I got one leg longer than the other. And let's just put it that. And I do have some teeth missing, but I have had some dental work. So I'm doing the best I can, being from Appalachia, living on the coast of Georgia. But anyway, where was I going with it? What was I even talking about? Oh yeah, I'm gonna get knee braces, and then I was thinking, I could get a back brace, maybe some ankle braces, and then they got those things you can put on your elbows, and maybe a neck brace. I mean, I should just brace up my whole, I should look like I'm in a cast preventative. Just trying to prevent potential injuries or aches and pains. And really, when I was jogging, I hesitate to call it a jog. It was more like a speed walk. But in my, I'm jogging. I'm not just walking. I'm shuffling. I got my little jog thing going. I don't know what the speed is. It's not very fast. It's more like a double time, kind of a thing than an actual jog. But I'm doing the best I can. I'm making an effort. I had lost like 20-something pounds when I went to the doctor, and she said my blood pressure was too high and all this kind of stuff. So I lost all this weight. Well, and then I reached a kind of a plateau there, 20 pounds, or 20, it's actually like 22, 23 pounds. And then all of a sudden it came to a stop. I quit, losing weight. And then I kind of got out like I wasn't eating as carefully. And now I'm starting to creep back up to where I'm eating more, and I'm afraid I'm going to start gaining this weight back. So I really do need to, either I got to pick up the physical activity or I got to decrease the eating. And I always try to pick up the physical activity first before I go into decreasing the eating. Although I should decrease the eating. You gotta be careful, guys. You slip right back in. There's a reason this happens over and over again to me. And I know what the reason is. Because it's the hog. I'm a hog. Hog. Tammy gets on to me about the way I say hog. She says that it's hog. Hog. Not hog. Like H-A-U-G. Like how people say dog. D-A-U-G. Dog. Like the Georgia Bulldogs. And so she always says that. And she goes, no, it's not. You say it weird. And I was like, oh, really? Well, Tammy, how do you say dog? And she says dog. And I'm like, you don't mean dog? She says, well, no. I'm like, because you act like I'm supposed to say hog, but you don't say dog. And that was the one time that I won an argument with Tammy. But it happened. Chris was the winner. She had to stop. Well, no, she still didn't stop making fun of me for saying hog. But I won the argument. She did not start saying dog for hog. So anyway, here we are at the Walmart, place where you can get everything in the world that you need. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get me 2 knee braces. I'm not going to get the other braces, just the knee braces. And if I happen to see something else, maybe I'll see something else in here I want to buy. I don't know. I mean, anything could happen. Here's a space. Guys, this is the first space right here. I mean, this is the first space. It does have a buggy in it, but I think I can push the buggy if I hit it real slow. I can push it out of the way.